According to Sun Tzu, Machiavelli, Dyer, and many others, the best defense is an active defense. Maybe it was the wine in my veins, but what I understood is can you beat Skyrim with only a shield? The rules are simple. I cannot use magic, shouts, or weapons to attack, only the shield. That's it. What else did you expect? This isn't a big brain, smart thinking challenge. This is a bash people in the head with a glorified metal plate until they fall unconscious challenge. And now, on with the show. I chose a Redguard because they start with 20 in the block skill and once a day can boost the stamina regeneration. Named myself after the sound I'll hear for the next 5 hours, almost impersonated a French noble in 1793 and ran away. Until I obtain a shield there isn't much I can do. Ralof is a big boy and can handle the Imperials by himself. I get a shield, try to attack, and I basically do no damage. And after 3 attacks I'm out of stamina. Fun start. Now a bit of Skyrim mechanics. Using a shield, you can either do a basic shield bash or a charged one. The first is faster, the latter staggers longer, but they both make an enemy unable to attack. The downside is that they cost a lot of stamina and do little damage. This damage increases with the shield's armor rating and the block skill level. Luckily there is a perk that quintuples the shield bash damage, so that will eventually increase. The stamina can be a problem, because if you have, say, 15 stamina and a bash needs 30, you can do the bash, and it deals the full damage. But you fall to 0 stamina and it takes a couple of seconds to start regenerating again. As long as you have 0 stamina you cannot bash, but with even only 1 stamina it's all good. This means that if you have an effect that gives you stamina constantly, you can shield bash as much as you want, because you regenerate enough stamina to attack again during the animation of the previous attack. I may have gone a bit off the rails, but what you need to know is that if you drink a vegetable soup, you can shield bash without worries for the following 12 minutes. Explanation done, I escape from Elgen, reach Riverwood and go to tell the Jarl of Whiterun that there are dragons around. I cook some soup and have to retrieve a stone plate in a nearby ruin. This is where I realize that this isn't a challenge, this is an easy mode. I don't know if the soup thing is an exploit or what, but as long as I am in a one-to-one combat, the opponent is unable to move or attack due to the stagger. I still deal few damage, but with every attack my block skill increases a bit, and with it my damage. Hell, I can even cut through webs with it. Bandit, Drogue or Spider, nobody stands a chance. I reach the Drogue Overlord, and set the difficulty from Adept to Legendary, just to see how strong I am. And by the gods this build is strong. I think this is how Asterix feels after drinking the Magic Potion. Also, I have no idea if Asterix and Obelix are well known outside Europe, so let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. After 5 minutes of bashing, the boss dies, I get the plate, get back to the Jarl and we are informed that a dragon is attacking the city. We go there with the Townsguard, and we try to see what breaks first, the shield or the dragon's head. This isn't Breath of the Wild, and so we win. I get called the Dragonborn and get summoned on top of a mountain by some old dudes. The lift is broken, so I have to walk all the way up. At this point, for the first time in all my Skyrim runs, I'm hoarding vegetables and I would buy a single leek for 50 plus gold. Not that I can find anybody selling it. The troll doesn't regenerate enough health and falls. I meet these monks, but they are really old and a bit deaf, so I have to shout at them. After permanently damaging my vocal cords, I go on a mission to retrieve an item in an old ruin full of Draugr and bandits. How unique. But first, I have to test my strength against the scariest enemy in all of Tamriel. Mano a mano, shield a club, the giant. I put the difficulty back to legendary and I go get my hands dirty. My god, I broke it. Also a skiver joined the fight. Now that I'm basically a god, I go to retrieve the horn. A shield of fate and steel protects me and cracks the skull of my enemies. At this point I took the perk that multiplies my damage, so even if I am fighting against multiple enemies, I can dispose of them easily. Also, here you need to shout to proceed with the dungeon, but it's not an attack and the game forces you to do it. I reached the horn, but someone stole it before I could. Luckily, they were kind enough to tell me where they live. I meet them and we go kill a dragon as horn stealing buddies. Here we see the main villain, Alduin, resurrecting said dragon. Apparently they still have to make a lizard that can sustain 400 consecutive bashes on the head, and we win. I meet the monks again, look at the bright orange kanji for an unhealthy amount of time, get shouted at, and get back to Delphin. Now the plan is to sneak in a Thalmor embassy. Attack is the best defense, yada yada yada. You get a bash, and you get a bash. Everybody gets a bash. We discover that the elves knew nothing. Luckily, the shield deals non-lethal damage, right? We, then, have to find an old friend of Delphine. He is hidden in the sewers in Riften. We get there, kill a couple of elves, and get out. Again, combat here is really easy. We can single out all the enemies, and they all die in a couple of seconds without being able to attack. Now the three of us have to discover how to kill Alduin, and in order to do so, we have to find a specific wall inside a dungeon. We can ignore everything outside, kill a couple of enemies inside, solve the puzzle from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, listen to the Suez guy talk for a small eternity, and we arrive at the conclusion that, in order to defeat the main villain in the game where the shouts were introduced, we need a shout. I go to the monks, and they send me to their boss, that we discover is a dragon. Nobody really cares. And now we need to find a guy that knows the location of a scroll that will let us see in the past, in order to learn the shout used to defeat Alduin, even though he wasn't actually defeated in that fight, but sent to the future, our present times, using the same scroll that we have to get. Okay, this is somehow less clear than my explanation at the beginning of the video. Here, in order to proceed with the game, you are forced to attack the dragon with a shout. And I'd say everybody considers it okay, or else every challenge to defeat Skyrim with a specific weapon would fail. I think it's still correct to point it out, but we can ignore it. In an ice cave, I find a guy that gives me a device to get the scroll. It's like a small shield that can bash puzzles. Also, I forgot to mention I got the Blade's armor and shield. Great fit. I get inside the Dwarven Ruin. This part feels like a regular Skyrim run where you're a bit overpowered. I take little to no damage overall, everything dies in a couple of seconds. The Falmer part was a little more challenging due to the strong mages, but still easy to do without any kind of precaution or care. The Centurion is in a one-on-one combat, so it is staggered for the whole fight. Here also I meet Umana and Sulla, two funny fellas that, unfortunately for them, have the final weapon of this run, the Targe of the Blooded. Targe, I don't know. This is an average shield, but every time you bash an enemy with it, they start bleeding for 3 damage for 5 seconds, and this effect can stack. I actually didn't do the math, but this should do more damage. Also, come on, it's a shield made for bashing. If I don't use it here, where? I enter Blackreach, exit Blackreach, bash the buttons to solve the puzzle, and take the scroll. Now I can read it on top of the mountain, sit through a cutscene longer than this video, and learn the shout to defeat Alduin. The dragon himself is actually here. What a coincidence. I drink my soup and beat him with a shield. Also, little tip, you can shout at him while he is down on the ground, so he remains there. Maybe it was obvious, but it never crossed my mind until now. Alduin is defeated, but we discover he cannot die in this world, and flies to rest in Sovngarde. To reach him and give him another beating, we need to capture a dragon to bring us there. Why not going with the huge dragon that has helped us in the past couple of hours? Don't ask. Whiterun's castle has a machine that we can use to capture dragons, but a civil war is raging, so we need to call a truce. I sit through the negotiations that are so boring that almost make me wish for a nuclear winter. We then call the dragon, capture the dragon, ride the dragon to stop the other dragon while a couple of dragons attack us. Wait, I got distracted. This part feels like a normal playthrough. The enemies are a bit harder to defeat and they deal a decent amount of damage. I also did only put perks in the block tree, just to make it a tad more difficult. I kill a couple of dragons and some Draugr. Then I go inside where I kill some more Draugr. Outside, the fight against the Dragon Priest is the first challenging fight in the game, but simply because for some reason he wasn't staggered and could attack me. I then travel to Sovngarde. I have to prove I'm worthy to a buff shirtless guy. I gather the heroes, together we call Alduin to fight, and, bash after bash, he is defeated. Also, for some reason, attacking Alduin with the shield didn't do any sound, so I wasn't sure if I was hitting him or not. And with this, you can beat Skyrim with only a shield. If you did this challenge yourselves, let me know how it went in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like or even subscribe. I'll see you next time. Well, you'll see me, see the video at least, or Why do I always mess up the outro?